right, everybody, welcome to NorCal Sports Network. And this is the same hat that Brock Purdy's dad wears. Chat loves it when Marty Lurie comes on.
Anytime you lose a game this time of year, when you can't go backwards, it's a problem.
All right, everybody, welcome on in. NorCal Sports Network. Giants lose today in New York. Another drizzly, rainy day back in New York City, but the Giants fall to the Yankees 8-4. We'll get into all the details regarding the game. We should even have Los D joining us to give us his breakdown and insight of the game. But first, let us thank our sponsor of the show. That would be Chapman Law Group. Chapman Law Group, located in Marin, licensed in all of California. Give Chapman Law Group a call at 415-613-9483. You've got yourself a legal situation. You got a personal injury situation. Don't settle before you give Chapman Law Group a call. You could be leaving literally thousands and thousands of dollars on the table if you don't give Chapman Law Group a call. All right. With that, we bring in Los D to the show. Welcome, Los.
Yes, sir.
Giants lose 8-4, and it was, an interesting ball game there until the fifth inning. And I'll let you have your say. I've got to say this. In a text group, I put out a WTH. What the hell is Melvin thinking? Jordan Hicks has a history of struggling his whole career getting through 4 innings. His entire career. He started out as a starter, could never get through. I think he went one time he got into the 5th inning with the Cardinals, and that was against the Giants. One time. Now, last year he starts out pretty well. He has several good starts in April and May, and then we start to see him fizzle. But during those starts, he started to break down always around the 5th inning. If maybe he would get into the 6th. But what are you doing in a 2-2 game, not having anybody up in the bullpen prepared?
Yeah.
He doesn't get anybody up until bases are loaded. Now, to me, if you're, and I like Bob Melvin, okay? But look, I'll call a spade when I see it on this show, okay? That's what we do here at NorCal. We're not going to water things down and say, oh, it's okay. No, it's not okay, because you got to know your pitcher. And his pitch count was up near 70 or whatever it was going into the 5th. And he was struggling. He was laboring. And you didn't have anybody to put out the fire. I would have, let me go through the 5th inning, guys. I will tell you exactly what happened in the 5th inning. Okay, Rice singles to center. Judge then singles to left, Rice to second. That's when you got to get him out, right there. Right there. But no, Bellinger singles on an 0-2 pitch that is up right at the, right in the wheelhouse of, not high enough where Cody goes and fishes and overswings it, right in his wheelhouse, drills a single into right center, and run scores. And now we've got, and then we bring in Goldschmidt, and he's a giant killer. He hits a ground rule double. Now it's 4-2. Okay. So, and runners on second and third. And then Chisholm walks. He's still not ready. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 guys. Look, I would have had him out of there after the second guy. You could see that he was laboring, okay? And he couldn't locate his pitches where he wanted to today. And that's a sign of a guy that's either overthrowing, doesn't have a good grip on the ball because of the weather, just getting tired, whatever it is. But the game was lost right there, in my view, right there. And I am squarely putting this on Bob Melvin for not having a man. This wasn't the second or third inning. This was the fifth. This is Hicks's, what's the word in Superman? Kryptonite. This is Hicks. The fifth inning is Hicks's kryptonite. Okay. And he's one of the best starting pitchers, it looks like, for 4 innings generally. He goes out there and can dominate. But anyway, I'll get to more of the breakdown of the game. Give us your thoughts on what we're talking about right now.
We discuss it and talk about it a lot with all the sports, and that's kind of roster politics and the business side of it. They gave him starters money, so they're going to be damned if they do everything they can to make sure that he absolutely fails about being a starter, because he's making starter money and he bulked up. So they're giving him a long, long leash to fail, and it's going to come at the consequence of losing some games. It's weird, because what would be your opinion as far as like when a guy seems to be losing stuff? Would it be velocity? Would it be location? Combination of both? Would you go to the catcher who has the best bird's eye view about what a pitcher has or doesn't have, and go to Bailey or whoever is catching and say, how's he looking out there? And just have an honest opinion. So I think Hicks, is a guy that potentially is a 5 or 6 inning guy. He said that he's going to rely on his sinker more, so he doesn't have to throw a ton of pitches. But when he gets into trouble, he likes to still go to his fastball. That is his bread and butter. And I think hitters know that. And I think he needs to trust his other stuff a little bit more. And quite frankly, when you throw that hard, I think he needs to pitch inside more, Dan. He's living on the outside corner.
Yeah, he is.
And the scouting report knows that. So you can throw hard, but if hitters will go the other way and just let the pitch come into them, they're going to make solid contact. So I think he should pitch a little bit more inside, but they're going to be stubborn with him because of that contract. And he's going to have to fail miserably for him to get out of the rotation, and maybe Birdsong take his place.
Yeah, it's just kind of unfortunate because shoot, I hate that in fantasy when you get a late scratch and you know, come on, you give it to me an hour before game time, and now I can't. I could have had somebody else in my roster but all the games started, so nothing I can do. All right, Brenton Doyle sits down. Okay, all right, a little fantasy baseball there. Anyway, guys, this game today, look, my shirt. Relax. Okay, it's one game. They're what, 10-4. Okay, you're playing the New York Yankees in New York. You're going to lose some games. Okay, I'm not upset that they lost. I just don't like when you do things that are fundamentally, mentally, whatever you want to call it. I'm going to play something for you guys here that I put out on Twitter, and I want you to watch this closely as I explain what's going on here. Matt Chapman came up in a key situation, and let me bring it up here, and we'll talk about this. And all right, so hold on here. Do I have it? Is it up and going? Yeah. Okay. There we are. All right. So if you want to read my tweet, it basically, well, I guess hold on. The tweet says this has been a problem with Matt Chapman his entire career, struggling with runners in scoring position. Take a look at ball 3 here, and that he takes it for ball 3. And the very next pitch is almost in the general same location. It's up and away. But Chapman, trying to do too much, tightens up and swings at ball 4. He's not a clutch hitter, and that's why he's never made an all-star team. Okay? Though he's the best fielding third baseman in all of baseball. So I'm trying to tell you, I like Matt Chapman. I think he's a good ball player. If he's got a weakness, it's coming through with runners in scoring position. Okay, don't hear me wrong. I think Chapman is good for the team. Okay? But overall, he's got to learn to not tense up. Why? Explain to me why one time in 8 seasons for a guy that bats in the middle of the order has only had 80 RBIs once in his career. That's not accidental.
That's facts. That's what his card says.
That is a guy who either tries to do too much or the moment's a little too big. Look, he chased a ball 4. That tells me he was tight, because if you're loose, you just looked at ball 3 in the same eye location. You got a good look at ball 3 and the very next pitch, and I'm about ready to show you what I'm talking about here. You ready? Let me turn the volume down all right, here we go. I'm not going to have any volume. Just look at ball 3 coming up. Here we go. High and away. Look at that. Pretty easy take. Ball 4, not as easy to take, but same location. You should have a major league hitter should have that down. Los, you batted in that situation. When you see a ball that is, I'm going to keep looking at it. Just watch this. Ball 3, ball 4 is just a little lower, but it's further outside. That's further outside. The ball 4 is further outside. Let's look at it one more time again. Ball 3, high, and just off the plate. Well, a little bit, about the same. The next one's just a little lower. Look, you got to be able to see that out of the pitcher's hand immediately. That's not hard to do when you've seen a pitcher. When you go up there and you get an idea and you see pitch after pitch after pitch, and he gives you a pitch that is ball 3, and then he throws a 3-2 pitch pretty much out of the hand, you could see it's outside. You're trained. Your eye is trained for that, okay? Don't anybody in the chat that didn't play ball tell me any differently. I know what I'm talking about, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Your eye is trained for that, and you go swing at it, that is tightening up. That's what you call – you wonder where the term choke comes from, right? Choke. It's because they tighten up. He choked. He got nervous, and he swung at a pitch that he would have had ball 4, and Ramos was up. What was the score at that time? 7-4? I think it was 7-4.
8-4. I think it was 8-4.
Let me go look again here. It's 8-4. Bottom of the 7th. Okay, 2 out. You got your best hitter probably coming up behind you in Ramos.
Boom. You just said it. There's so many things that factor into chasing pitches. The best hitters in baseball, and quite frankly, the best hitting coaches in baseball will tell you, number one thing a good hitter has to know is understand the strike zone. Understand the strike zone. Know, recognize a pitch, see where it's going, swing to that location. When the other thing is, when you have men on base, you're not going to get paid for walking. You're going to get paid to drive them in. So maybe you try too hard. Chapman doesn't have that excuse anymore because he got a fat contract. He got paid. So there's no reason to try too hard to put up stats. The game of baseball is, if they're going to pitch around you like that, and who knows if they were pitching around him. I don't think so. I think the pitcher just missed location, and Chapman helped him out by swinging at a ball. And you said it right there, Dan. You got a hot hitter behind you. When you have a cold hitter behind you, maybe you go out of the strike zone a little bit and try to get those runs in. I get it. Ramos is not cold. He's hitting very well. This is where you got to trust the guy behind you. or maybe the guy 2 guys behind you. That's the game. Bruce Bochy used to say always keep the line moving. And keep the line moving could have been a walk, it could have been a sacrifice, it could have been a base hit, but keep it moving, keep it going. And Chapman, throughout his career, has just not been a good RBI guy. You don't need to hit home runs to get RBIs. That was a perfect situation where a single or a double bring in 1 or 2 runs, get the game a little bit closer. He's actually been doing a good job this year going the other way. So, hey, it's a long season. You're going to have bad games. It happens. I like what I've seen from Chapman from a hitting standpoint, but that was not a good at bat at all.
My thing with Chapman is, look, I said he's smoking hot in the spring, and you heard me before the season started. I said my only hope is that he didn't shoot his wad in spring, because this is a guy that goes up and down. He will have hot streaks this year. They're coming. What's usually happens, though, is April's been his best month in his career, and he really starts to falter in May and then picks back up, and then he goes back down. September, he hits 201 as a career average. There's a couple things on this team as I watch this last couple games that's becoming very evident. There's some weaknesses that they're going to have to address. One of them is they had no lefties on the bench today to come up and pinch hit. 0.
Yep.
And you got a guy, and nothing against Christian Koss, but what is he doing? He's just taking up space on the bench. He's like the guy that you have on your fantasy baseball team that you're using, you're never using, but he's there. He's like, well, I can pick up guys like him all over on waivers. What am I doing? Look, I'm not a huge, Brett Wisely so much better than Koss. Maybe Koss is better. But at this point, you're going to have to bring up somebody that can bat left-handed off the bench, because you got 3 on the team. Well, I guess you had Bailey, but you never brought him in today. So Bailey was an option. You never brought him in. But look, I don't know what they're going to do with Koss and Wisely, but to me, that's an issue. The other issue was today. It was a 3-2 count to Fitzgerald. He ended up flying out in the 8th inning with runners on 2nd and 3rd. If he walked, they had a lefty. I think it was Tim Hill. Was it Tim Hill that was warming up in the bullpen for the Yankees?
I believe so.
He's nasty against lefties. He throws from the side, and he's throwing his ball. His release point is behind the batter's back when he's throwing from the left side. Very tough as a lefty. So Yaz is coming up. What's Melvin going to do? I was curious. Is he going to bring up Matos in that situation, or is he going to leave the veteran in? I'm so disappointed we didn't get a chance to find out.
When was the last?
Because it would have told us a lot today, what Melvin thinks. Does he think more highly of Yaz? Like, he's a veteran, I'm not going to take him out in this key situation because he homered on Wednesday afternoon to beat Cincinnati in the 10th inning? Or does he bring up and pinch hit the youngster for the veteran? I wanted to see that so bad, Los, and Fitzgerald didn't let us do it.
The Giants are such a matchup organization. Not so much now with Farhan gone. But I was just thinking, when was the last time the Giants had a switch hitter in their team, on their roster? Switch hitter.
Bailey is one, but he's not very good.
Yeah. Other than Bailey, I'm just thinking an everyday infielder, outfielder.
You mean like a guy like Rengifo or something like that?
Yeah, just a guy that no matter who's out there, you're going to have the quote unquote advantage.
Well, they had one, and I was just looking at his stats. Actually, funny you bring that up. They had a guy by the name of Brian Reynolds who hits 277 from the left
Yep.
side, and 274 from the right. How consistent is that?
Yeah, he could use that. When this roster was put together at the beginning of the year and we started talking about it, I immediately brought up I didn't like the lack of lefties. I didn't like the lack of lefties hitting. I don't like the lack of lefties in the bullpen. It's just very right-handed hitting and pitching oriented.
It's a lack
And
of lefties in the starting rotation too.
yeah, yeah. And I just, as we know, and we bring up often, 70% of major league pitching is righties. So if you want that matchup, you might want to have a few more left-handed bats in your lineup. But it is what it is. They're 10-4. Look, when it comes to this show, I am the ghost of Christmas skepticism. I am the ghost of Christmas reality. I would say the same thing if the Giants were 4-10. That I'm going to say when they're 10-4. They have to have a lot of people and things going right to be winning games.
Yeah.
They haven't really faced what I would consider to be dominant pitching yet. They've faced some okay pitching. I liked how they came out yesterday and won. Jung-Woo is playing real well.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm hard on Yaz. And he's, you know what? I don't dismiss it because I was an outfielder and I know I can appreciate great defense. He made a hell of a catch today. And he does play great defense. So
Yaz is a great right fielder. He's
kudos
probably
to Yaz playing well.
If he plays enough ball games, he's probably going to be in contention for a Gold Glove in right field. He's really that good. He's got a great arm. I wouldn't say great arm. He's got a very accurate arm. He's got a above average arm. It's not a cannon, but it's accurate. And he plays the wall right. He plays the caroms. He plays the angles. He gets to balls. Yaz is a very good right fielder. And if he gives you anything above, 240 in the season, he's a real plus because he's been hitting in the 220s, for the last few years. So we'll see where he goes. I mean, he's hitting over 300 right now. He's showing some signs that but I didn't like his at-bats today. The first at-bat, first to lead off the game, he never took the bat off his shoulder. He took 6 pitches, and he took called strike 3. I don't know how you do that. He did not take his bat off his shoulder. Then he struck out another time or two. I'll get to the box score here shortly, but Bomel, according to Fosse, said he didn't expect Hicks to have that kind of inning in the 5th. You never expect it, but you prepare for it.
You have to be ready for all situations.
Yeah, I mean, to say you didn't expect that, you got to be saying, okay, I'm going to get a guy. It's cold. Mm-hmm. It's damp. It's going to take a little longer.
And he was at about 65, 70 pitches, which is kind of where he runs out of gas. That's not a good answer.
Yeah. And, I mean, that's where you just start doing, okay, who's my guy that if he gets into trouble? Rodriguez. Randy, soft toss. Let's just start playing soft toss down there. Okay. First guy singles. Or what was the 5th inning? He walked? Let me go back. 5th inning, Rice singles to center. What do? Have Randy open it up just a little bit from soft toss. All right, thanks. Okay, next batter. Judge, single to the left. Pick up the phone again. Randy needs to get prepared. That's all it takes. I mean,
it's not hard.
It is not that hard. Look, and if Hicks gets out of the inning and you got Randy too hot to come in for the 6th to sit him down, 6, okay, Randy's not going to pitch today. We're going to skip him. But you got to be prepared. You're in a 2-2 tie ball game on the road, and you're playing the Yankees, and the weather is bad, and you cannot say I didn't expect that. I mean, I'm watching guys run around third base, and I'm thinking to myself, you got to be prepared for guys coming home slipping in the grass, losing their footing.
What was up with Jung Lee yesterday? He had a whole mask. Like I thought he was going to go into a liquor store and try to rob it or something.
Oh, I know, the whole team.
Yeah,
The whole
yeah.
team.
Like they like, damn, man, you packing down there? You gonna rob somebody? I mean, I've seen the turtleneck, I've seen the long
They're cold.
sleeves,
Hey,
but
I don't know if
there's some guys.
anybody's
Yeah,
Robert Rothberg knows this because he lives in New York. I lived in Connecticut from 97 to 04. Came out to Arizona in March of 04. April is cold, damp, and when it's raining, it is like
miserable.
it isn't like a snow or even, a dry, non-humid climate when it's raining or well, when it's raining, it's always humid, but it's so dang cold, it cuts through your stinking bones. That's why those guys are wearing masks. They are free. You cannot play baseball in that type of weather without being bundled up because you're so frozen. It hurts. It hurts. I've been back there and that was back when I was 25 years ago. So I was actually, you know, doing things, moving more active. I was playing ball, I was out doing stuff with my kids and stuff and playing flag football and stuff like that. But man, it hurts. It's just not fun at all. So tomorrow's going to be more of the same. It's supposed to be damp again tomorrow. It's just a yucky time in the East Coast. And so let me just go through real quickly the breakdown of the game, and then we'll wrap that part of the game talk up.
Real quick before you do that, Dan, let me just say that if I'm reading between the lines and if I'm reading Buster, I think he just wants to get to July, wants to get to close to the trading deadline, and he wants to see where this team is. I think he may pull a trigger because this team is one or two legitimate bats away from what I think being a contender. I don't think they're a contender right now, even with the hot start that
they're playing over their heads.
They have too many holes. Their starting rotation again is not going a lot of innings. We just repeat this all the time, and it comes to fruition that the bullpen is gassed. Bullpen is the strength of the team. If that's the strength of the team, then you got to protect it, and you got to have the starters go deeper. If that means skipping guys or going to a 6-man rotation, whatever, but you can't have guys going 4 and 5 innings every single day because the bullpen is just going to be wiped out. It's going to catch up, so hot start or no hot start. But I think if he gets to July and they're at least at 500 or a little bit over, getting a first baseman, getting another bat in here, wherever, maybe one more in the outfield.
Good points, Los.
Second base is still kind of, I don't know. Second base is still unsettled.
I'm not high. I'm not high on Fitzgerald. He was a question mark for me going into the season. I think as a ball player, he's a utility player. He's a super utility player. I don't see him as the everyday second baseman. He, everybody got enamored with him with that 10, 8, 9 home run stretch that he went on last year in 2-3 week period where he was player of the week. And he just, every game he was hitting a home run, 5 games in a row, something like that, whatever it was.
Doesn't that always happen? Somebody gets hot for a month to end a season, and not just in fantasy baseball, but in real baseball, they just assume that's going to carry over.
Yeah, I'm telling you guys right now, Wilmer Flores has 6 home runs. If he hits over 25 this year, I'll be shocked.
I'm going to tell you about Wilmer Flores, how much people believe that this is going to keep going on. Like Dan knows in our fantasy league, like the guys know what they're doing. They know what they're talking about. Those there's no dummies in that league.
Nobody's
picked him up because nobody believes that it could be sustainable.
Right.
Again, Wilmer is a slow guy, and as he hits a lot of ground balls.
Yeah.
And I would hope that he's smart enough, and I think he is as a veteran, that if he hits a ground ball, he knows he's not going to beat it out. Don't hustle and go down the line because your hustle is still ridiculously slow. If you hustle and go all out, you're going to pull a hammy and you're going to be out 2 to 4 weeks, and then this lineup is going to really be crap.
This would have been a good move for the Giants.
I would have loved Bregman.
This would have been a good move.
And Josh Naylor. at
Yeah,
first.
I don't know what they're thinking. You look here. Here's one of the things that why I don't have the Giants making the playoffs this year. I hope they do. I hope I'm wrong. I hope my 86 and 76. I think I'll be pretty close within 3-4 games either way. I do think they're probably over the 79.5. That's why I bet them over. They look like a better team just with Lee in the lineup. Chapman's settled. Adamas is here. They look a little bit more like a team that's going to be around more. Uh, Giovanni, look at this guy. Wow, Giants off to a terrific start. Does this guy come in? I mean, if he's listened to the first 12, 13 games, we've been very high on him. And I said, look, if you came in at the beginning, Giovanni, I already said it's not a big deal. You lost a game. You lost to the Yankees. Expected. Not a big deal. Nothing to panic about. My shirt says relax. Okay? Relax.
He's the ultimate front runner. He only shows up when the team is winning, and then he
He
disappears
only says, look,
when they lose.
hey, we've been going for 31 minutes here. He comes in and he picks up on this. We're pointing out. I said at the beginning of the season, I didn't have him in the playoffs, and I'm going to stick with it. Okay? Yep. I hope I'm wrong. They could make the playoffs. I did say the last week of the season, when there's 6 games left, when you enter that last week on Monday, I think the Giants will mathematically still be alive. That's my prediction.
Dan, you have them winning 8 more games than I do. So
yeah. So
Dan's not a pessimist. Dan has them at 86 wins. That's pretty.
All right.
All we can expect for guys is that the Giants are making steps. I mean, for people to be coming on here and saying they're going to win a championship or go real deep, maybe, probably not likely. They're better than last year. They're better than the year before so far. Well, the eyes tell us that they're playing good fundamental baseball. They're hitting a little bit better in the clutch. Actually, they're hitting quite better in the clutch because that's what brought them down last year. So if they continue to do that, they will give themselves a shot. But the problems that existed in the last few years are still there. You are blind if you cannot see them.
Oh, Robert.
Are they capable? Okay. Yeah, the Pirates are capable of winning it all.
Yeah. Look, hey, Robert, I bet $5 on the Giants to win it all at 1,000 to 1. They win, I win $500. I wasn't going to spend 10. I wasn't going to, 5. Look, that's a cup of Starbucks, coffee for the day that I can just say, you know what? I'll throw away the 5. I'm not going to throw away 10. I think sometimes, I hope I win too, man. I'm going to be pulling for the Giants to win it all, man. But look, there's a few red flags you guys got to look for and understand. Right now, there's 2 possible, what's the word? Chinks in the armor? How's that go?
Chinks in the armor.
Chinks in the armor in the rotation. Verlander and Hicks. And we don't know enough about Roop. We know Roop's not going to be a starter for 30-plus starts. He doesn't. So they're going to need other starters to fill in. So you've got to look at the situation with that. Verlander was just a batter away or so of being knocked out in the 3rd inning on Wednesday afternoon for his 2nd straight start. So I like that he got out of it and was able to keep going. There's one thing I do want to point out here, that Duvall pitched well. Exactly what I said. And I'll give credit for Bomel for that. I said the other night, Duvall cannot pitch again in a high leverage situation until he earns his way back. I would not bring him in unless the Giants were down by 3 or more or up by 3 or more. And he brought him in 8-4. They were down 8-4. He held the line. Good. Do that for me about 5 or 6 more times where I say, okay, he's got his stuff back. He's got his confidence back. And then I'm willing to put Duvall in a high leverage situation again. Not before. What do you think on that, Los?
Yeah, Duvall has just been proven this year, especially, that he just has issues with men. He didn't have anybody on base today, so there's no issues because he can't hold people on. And when the situation is not exactly a stressful situation, he seems to pitch well. So he's for now a 6th and 7th inning guy. And if Walker were to get hurt, I don't know if Duvall would automatically be the closer. I think it should be maybe Rodriguez. You can't just automatically put people in there because they were in there before. Who is pitching and who is playing well right now? I mean, the Giants are doing real well because 2 guys that nobody thought were going to get off to great starts, Flores and Yaz, are. If you're rolling your dice and you're going to your bookie and putting it on the Giants because you're putting it for the 162 game season that Flores and Yaz are potential all-stars, more power to you. We don't agree. They're flashing and doing well right now. We need their better players to do well, which is Adames and Chapman and Ramos.
Right.
So, again, like I said at the beginning of the show, for this team to win, they got to have a lot of guys going well. And the starters have got to help out the relievers. So far, so good.
I have some other thoughts on this game, and that is this. Okay. It is right here up on the screen. What use is Tyler Fitzgerald to the Giants if he's going to be a statue on first base in a tie game with 2 outs? Look, you got the leadoff guy up. Attempt to steal. At worst, he gets thrown out, and you start the next inning with your leadoff hitter. At best, he's safe, and you got a runner in scoring position in a tie game. Casey Schmidt, in my opinion, is a better hitter than Fitzgerald, strikes out about 15% less of the time. He's a better defender. If Fitz isn't going to utilize his speed, or the Giants aren't going to utilize his speed, I don't know if they put the brakes on him or not. Why do you have Fitzgerald sitting there at first base? I mean, the announcers are talking about, is he going to run? Is he going to, come on, dude. Let's take off. Worst thing that happens is he's out and you got Yaz, especially when there's 2 strikes. I mean, maybe he gets thrown out and Yaz starts the inning with a fresh new count. But Los, give me your take on this. Am I wrong on this, or
No.
what do you think?
No, you're spot on. You're spot on. That's exactly how it should be. But I was going to ask you, Dan, what are you seeing as far as Fitzgerald in his approach at the plate? Are you seeing pitchers pitch him any differently than last year? Are they feeding him more breaking balls?
Because that's the thing. Away.
Yeah,
low and away.
And that's the thing people have to understand is, Fitzgerald finished the year hitting, I think it was close to 280. He had a real nice run. But scouting reports are still there in the game of baseball, and people will see tendencies. And if you are, that little box that they have, a hot and cold area, pitchers are going to start feeding that cold area, and then you have to adjust as a hitter. Right now, Fitzgerald is not adjusting. So, again, second base, if you go around the diamond and you go to each position, first base, question mark. Second base, question mark. Right field, hitting-wise, I think still is a question mark. Catcher, a little bit better than a question mark. I like Bailey. I think he's pretty solid. But the starting rotation is a question mark in 2 of the spots.
Yeah, there's at least 2 or 3 spots in there to me. Verlander and Hicks. Look, Hicks is a guy that is, to me, he's a kind of a boom or bust. He's got nasty stuff. He's got 4 really good pitches, which you want in a starter. But he's not a guy that generally speaking, that's going to be that great facing an order the third time through. There's a lot of pitchers like that in the game today. I mean, there just is. There's guys that are lights out that they go 4 or 5 innings and then they realize, hey, man, the third time the guy just Giovanni, you're a clown, man. Come on. We know Verlander's a Hall of Famer. What is he today, though? Is he? I mean, come on. There's question marks around Verlander, and that's not just this show. That's anybody in the know of baseball is talking that way. I guarantee you the Giants are concerned. They're going to give him another 3 starts, and if all 3 of the starts he's like shaky and he's ERA's 5.6 or more, they're probably going to start saying, okay.
How much are they paying Verlander, Dan?
$15 million.
What would have been better, giving Verlander $15 million to pitch every 5 days, or to give Josh Naylor a middle of the order hitter $10 million a year?
Do I even need to answer that, Los?
Giovanni doesn't know the answer to that. Giovanni would pay Verlander.
Hey,
that's why he'll never give you any business with secure money, because he's really bad with money.
Let me ask you this one: what would you rather have, Verlander and at 15 and Wade at whatever he's making 5, and Yaz at 10?
That's $30 million.
Or someone like Pete Alonso in the middle of the order.
That's what I mean. Economics, man. Economics. Economics.
I mean, and you could have still, you could have had both Alonso and Wade if you wanted. Okay. Now maybe you don't get the production out of Wilmer. I don't know. Wilmer's on a hot streak. He's on a heater. Enjoy it. It might last through April. It might even last into May, but it's very doubtful that Wilmer Flores is going to keep this up. Okay, look, Tyler Fitzgerald had a streak last year. We had a home run in how many straight games? 5, 6, 7 games. I don't remember what it was. It was somebody in the chat probably recalls it. But look, Tyler Fitzgerald, he might not hit 10 home runs in the big leagues this year. He hit 15 in a shortened season last year, and not a full season.
And here's the problem with the Giants. If these guys fail, who is going to replace them? So let's go one by one. Verlander and Hicks continue to struggle in the rotation. Okay, Birdsong goes in. I like Birdsong to man one spot. Who goes into the other spot? That's one.
You might have to look at Harrison. You might have to revisit Harrison.
And Harrison has struggled. Okay, let's go to second base. Fitzgerald's struggling. They have to sit him down. I like Casey a lot, but Casey's not a guarantee either.
Right.
Casey has not proven to hit on an everyday basis. Love his glove. I think it's a waste at second base because he's got a cannon of an arm. If Wade struggles at first, I mean, you could put Flores at first, but if you put Flores at first, then you risk him getting hurt. And right now, he's your best at bat. What if Flores gets hurt?
Don't forget, Encarnacion will be back in mid-May.
We'll be back. And is he a proven commodity, or is he a question mark? That's what I mean. The Giants have right now, hey, great. The Giants are playing great. Let's hope they keep it up. I love their spunk. I love how they kind of came back, even though they got down early today. They are a better team than last year. Great. Let's just kind of keep our expectations with that. They're a better team, and they're going to give us some entertainment. They are not close to being a championship team because they have too many holes and they don't have the depth. If some of these guys that I just mentioned do not perform, the people that are behind them are not very good either. So they're going to need to make some moves. If they get that first base in, if they get 2 bats in that lineup, then you'll hear me saying a few different things about being a believer in the Giants, making a run. They need 2 bats. And quite frankly, they could probably use another proven starter somewhere, somehow. Verlander was a good pitcher. He'll have moments. He can go out the next game and throw 6 shutout innings, and it'll be like, you don't know what you're talking about, Dan and Los. And then the next 3, he'll get rocked, and we will know what we're talking about. It's the longevity. It's a long year. And Verlander hasn't been a real good pitcher. I think he won the Cy Young in 22, didn't he? So it wasn't that long ago.
Yeah, he did. He did.
His velocity looks good. I mean, he looks decent.
Right.
But
He looks and he's
nevertheless,
healthy. He's healthy, which is good. That's all good. Hold on, I got something here. Let me pull this up for Giovanni. Do you want to play chess or checkers? Can you read that comment for me, Los?
Dan said Casey Schmidt was a Gold Glover, remember? Or you're going to call me a clown for that too. He has to play every day to be a Gold Glover. He would be a Gold Glover if he played every day, but
can you read that up on the board there too?
Yes, Casey Schmidt won the 2022 Minor League Baseball Rawlings Gold Glove Award at the third base position. He was playing for the Sacramento River Cats at the time. Yeah.
Okay,
to win a Gold
Giovanni.
Glove, you have to play every day.
There you go, Giovanni. You're clown, Giovanni. Don't ever question me. I got receipts, pal. There you go, Giovanni. All right. Okay, so
no, Bub, Brad, I'm not wrong. I'm not wrong on Verlander because what's Verlander's ERA right now? I don't care if he's throwing 96. What's his ERA? How long has he gone into games? What's his record? How's he looked in 3 starts? I'm not wrong on him. Use your eyes, man. Just because he's throwing 96, who cares? It's like we're justifying, like, damn, he's throwing 96 at 42 years old. Like, props, he's doing well. No. Is he not giving up runs? He started opening day in a pitcher's ballpark and he gave up, some runs. So I hope he does better. Like I said, stuff-wise, it looks good, but you need more than stuff, and Verlander knows that to win in this league. It's about location. Guys can hit, Bub Brad, guys can hit 96-mile-an-hour fastballs. In today's age, 96 is it's fast, but there are guys throwing 98, 99 with better breaking balls. So let's see. Hopefully, I hope I'm wrong. I hope I'm wrong.
Giovanni been getting roasted here since the beginning of this channel's existence. Yeah, we love having Giovanni in here. Helps the show's ratings because we can have some comical time when Giovanni makes comments. So thank you for the comedy material, Giovanni. Thank you very much.
Remember last year, Dan, we did an exercise. We went down every player on the roster and we gave them between 1 and 5 stars. Of course, 5-star being excellent players. And almost everybody in the roster was 2 or 3.
Let's do it again.
If you do that right now, how many people on the roster are a 4 or 5-star player? How many? I think Webb is one. I would say.
What are we doing? 4 or 5-star?
How many? I mean, 5-star is excellent. They're the guys you draft in the first round of fantasy baseball. Those are 5-star players. Maybe even the first 2 rounds of fantasy baseball.
Here's how I rate guys.
As far as performance, as far as stats.
I give 5 a superstar, if that's the highest. Judge, Soto, Watani, Betts, Freeman, 4 or
do the Giants have a 5-star guy on their roster?
4 is an all-star. 3 is a good player. 2's like slightly, below average, and 1 is just So the Giants do not have a 5 on their team.
They do not have a 5-star. I think
they do not.
You can agree with that. I think some people in the chat will say they do have 5-star players. So we agree to disagree there. The 4-star players on their roster would more than likely be Ramos and Webb, off the top of my head. Chapman cannot be a 4-star player until he hits better, especially
he's never made an all-star. He's a good player.
He's a good player. He's a 3-star guy.
Is a 5-star defensive player. 5-star. He's elite. At the plate, if this was 30 years ago, he wouldn't even be considered good. Okay, if the game, he wouldn't be. They would be like, what are we going to do? We can't have a 230 hitter in our lineup, 240 hitter. But Chapman's a good player. I give Chapman a solid 3-star, and I got Odamas at a solid 3-star. And
Ryan Walker, is Ryan Walker a 4-star guy?
He's borderline 4.
I think so too. I think he's really close. He has to do it one more year, get 30 plus saves, be very consistent. And if he does that, then that's a third 4-star. But remember, it's a 25-man roster?
Yeah. And
If
I
you have
got
20
Ramos as Ramos to me is on that fence between 3 and 4. He's like, hey, he can go 4-3 depending on where he goes. He has the potential to be a consistent 4-star, Ramos. He's young. I love his game. I think part of what you see the problem with Ramos at times is they don't really have anybody. Chapman hits in front of him, so he's going to see tougher pitches with a lot of the times. And behind him, well, I shouldn't even say that, because behind him, who's behind him? Was it Wade today in the 6th spot? I think it was.
Yeah.
Look,
Yeah.
I'm not going to worry about giving in to Ramos when I got Lamont Wade on deck. Okay, I love Lamont Wade. He's one of my guys. I really like Lamont Wade. He is a.
But let me push back to you on that one, Dan. Why do you like Lamont Wade?
I like Lamont Wade. Why do I like Lamont Wade?
It's Lamont Wade Jr. of the San Francisco Giants, and you're listening to Dan on the NorCal Sports Network.
And I'm not trying to be facetious, but this is kind of something that I go at Kyle Shanahan about. There's a lot of people he likes that we all scratch our heads and go, "Damn, you like Jake Brendel." Like, nobody thinks Jake Brendel is good, but you like him. So I think sometimes the Giants, and I don't think that's going to be the case with Posey. I think Posey is going to be a little bit more, hey man, if you're not performing, you're going to sit down. Lamont Wade is. I've never met him, so I can't say that I like him as a person, but as a baseball player, he's about a 2.5 to me. So Jung-Hoo Lee, he's not quite a 4-star player. Right now, he's playing like a 4-star player, but he's got to do it all year long and stay healthy. So he could potentially. So we've just named basically 3 guys on a 25-man. There's no 5-star players. There's no superstars. There are 4-star players. If that is the case, and we're kind of agreeing on that, is that a roster that is in serious contention to win a championship? I don't think so. Talent eventually wins at some point. You have to have talent. They have some talent, and some guys are playing above their heads. And some guys are struggling. Some guys are struggling that should be better. Adames is gonna hit better, and I think Chapman's gonna pick it up a little bit. But
all right, I'll tell you what the first move is going to be, guys. Roster move. And I think it comes, I don't know if it'll come on this road trip, because it seems to me the Giants and Posey might want to keep things the same. But I think the first roster move that the Giants make is Brett Wisely coming up for Christian Koss. And it all depends. I think it may depend on how Fitzgerald does at the plate over the next 4 or 5 games. If he's sputtering and he's like not doing a whole lot, I could see them bringing up Wisely for Koss and start platooning Fitzgerald and Wisely. I could see that. I don't know what else they're going to do. I think they're pretty much committed to Casey. They could give it to Casey, but then you still have the issue of you still don't have much lefties. They're
going to replace a 2-star player with a 2-star player. Basically, that's why I was so excited about Bryce Eldridge. That's why we all were excited, because this guy looked like he had the potential to be, and maybe he will be at some point, but he just looked the part. We haven't had a guy like that, like just an imposing figure, like a big dude with power, lefty, damn it, get some lefties in that on that roster, and legit power to all fields. He just needs to field better, and quite frankly, he's got to hit the breaking ball better, and I believe he will. But they need more of those guys on their roster if they're going to seriously contend with the Phillies and the Dodgers and the Padres, and quite frankly, the Diamondbacks. So
Yeah, look, I mean, right now the Giants are 10-4. We're enjoying it. They've been playing fundamentally sound baseball. There was no fundamental physical errors. There was no mental errors today. They just got beat by a better team, and that's going to happen. And I'm not look, but if we're doing a show and we're going to talk about the Giants and give you reality checks, there's some things that are simmering that may need addressed. Right now is not the time, but it may come to the place. Look, I've talked about Jordan Hicks. He had a great spring. I've heard Alex Pavlovic talk about how he really was kind of knocking some of the people out there that are saying Hicks shouldn't be gifted a starting rotation spot, and that he was dominant, and that I've never been down on Hicks as a pitcher. I just think the Giants are deeper and better when you put Birdsong in the rotation and you put Hicks in the bullpen, because Hicks, who's touching Hicks at 102? Look, he's throwing 98 at his 85th pitch, right? How fast could he throw if he's only got to throw 15 to 20 a day?
Yeah.
Hicks can hit 104, 105. Didn't he hit 105 in his career as a Card?
It was 10. I don't know if one was 105. I think it was definitely 104.
Yeah, Hicks can light it up.
And you know what? I like him at 98 with movement more than 104 straight. When he throws that pitch to left-handers that looks like it's inside and then it comes over the plate, that's filthy. If he could like get that down. And then the other thing, Dan, is as a starter, you have to throw more than 2 pitches. And that's why he's throwing his sinker more. But maybe his sinker is really, at the end of the day, not that good. If he become a relief pitcher, then his 2 dominant pitches is all he needs for an inning or 2, and he can get by with that. Look, Dennis Eckersley was a hell of a pitcher. He was an okay starter, but when he went to the bullpen, he became a Hall of Famer and lights out. Some guys are just built, and I get it. He put on weight, he put on muscle and strength to make his endurance. He's throwing the sinker more, but he's got to get it together to be able to give this team 6 solid innings. I mean, granted, the Yankees are a good hitting team. I mean, I picked up Jordan Hicks. He's on my fantasy team. I didn't start him today. Hell no. He was on the bench.
Yeah. Dang it! I wish you would have started him, Los.
I know you did. Now, we're in the managing aspect of fantasy baseball. The GM part is over, at least for the draft. But yeah, I'm not going to throw him out there. He won't start at Colorado either, Dan.
I know you.
And I'm not going to get near you and grab my phone like you did that one time and almost set my lineup or pull a trade or something. Hey, Los, can I borrow your phone? Yeah, here, it's stupid Mia gave it to him.
Here's something I could see. How about this? Giants are in contention at some point late in the season, second half. They're in contention. There's we don't have a solid lefty option besides Eric Miller in the bullpen. We've already been called up. Harrison, Birdsong's had some starts. Harrison's had some starts. Keaton Wynn maybe gets a start or 2. They're going to need starters for some of these guys. So everybody thinks this guy's the starter that they want to see over Harrison. He's a lefty. But let me tell you something. Guys with 2 pitches generally don't make good starters in the major leagues.
Right.
Carson Whisenhunt could be the X factor in the bullpen. Imagine a bullpen in the back end that you have to go through of Rodriguez, Duvall, Hicks, Wisenhunt, Miller, Walker. I mean, you could get a starting pitcher to go 5, and you could work your way through. Wisenhunt has the nastiest changeup maybe in baseball, they say.
And I would love him in the bullpen because I am a
That's
big
what I'm saying.
believer in messing with hitters' timing.
Exactly.
As much as I love Rodriguez, if you throw Hicks in the 7th, if you throw Hicks in the 6th, Doval in the 7th, Rodriguez in the 8th, they're all kind of the same style pitchers, Dan. They're right-handers that throw hard and throw the slider. Okay, you keep giving that to look to the hitters over and over and over again, they're going to pick it up. Now, if you go Hicks in the 6th, throw Wisenhunt in the middle with his changeup, like you're messing people up. If he goes a little bit longer and they go a second time through the order, you go from 98, 99 from the right-handed point of view to 92 fastball and a nasty 78-mile changeup. That's filthy. That is filthy. I remember the Dodgers used to have, who's the knuckle bowler they had? Was it Charlie
Huff?
Yeah. Okay, think about this. How about this for screwing up your timing? The Dodgers used to throw Charlie Huff out there in his 62-mile-an-hour knuckleball for 7 innings. And then they would bring in a young Pedro Martinez. Pedro Martinez threw about 96, but after seeing Charlie Huff for 7 innings, he probably was throwing, it looked like 126. That's the difference, and that's how you mess up hitters. So the Giants could have a great bullpen on paper, like, oh, Rodriguez is nasty, Doval's nasty, Walker is nasty, but they're all right-handers, they all throw hard, and they all have sliders. It's the same look. That's why I was so insistent on getting a lefty in there that can give a different look. That's how you mess up hitters' timings. It's not about just striking everybody out. Everybody just wants strikeouts. Get them out, damn it. Outs wins games by any means necessary.
I think Carson Wisenhunt is going to be a dominant reliever in the big leagues. And I think we see him at some point this year. And the Giants, he's really only got 2 effective pitches. He's got a third pitch that he's kind of working on, trying to build his arsenal. But you could get away with it as a reliever. You can't get away with it and be an effective long-term starter and go 5 innings and face guys 3 times.
There's no chance Wisenhunt will be a starter.
He could be. He could still be a starter.
I would love one of these young guys to take off. Really,
Wisenhunt could be a starter, but I think he's got like back into the bullpen location or written all over him. Think of Javi Lopez or
was he nasty?
Yeah, I mean,
he was so nasty.
Yeah, and the thing about a changeup, what's great about a changeup is it works against righties. You can throw the changeup against the righties, and then you've got the other advantages of lefty against lefties. So Wisenhunt could be a guy that I do think we see Wisenhunt at some point this season. Cole Dunson says, when do you think Harrison will be up? I think Harrison's got to get built up, and he's got to pitch well down there in AAA. And once his stamina is up, and there's a need, on the roster, he'll be starting some. The Giants don't have 5 guys that can throw 32 starts. I think they have 2, and I think those 2 are obviously Webb, and the other is Robbie Ray.
Let me ask you something on pitching, because this is always I've always had this question, and I don't know if anybody's really truly answered it. You said a left-hander's changeup is nasty to right-handers. How come the rule of thumb is that a lefty will not throw a changeup to a lefty? If it offsets your timing, why wouldn't that be an effective pitch? Let's say you threw 96, 97. Does it automatically have to be a lefty's curve that gets them out? Why? a changeup to a left-handed hitter would break inside and would take it off the sweet part of the bat. I never understood that. It's like, oh, you don't throw changeups to lefties if you're a lefty. Why not?
Now you got me thinking
I'm just
my
curious.
wiffle ball days of pitching.
Yeah, I just think timing. The changeup was the pitch that gave me the most problems, Dan. When I played both lefties and righties, because if they can hide it and make it look like it's a fastball, and then it just tumbles down, man, that screwed me up.
I think there's interesting.
Maybe it's a Ned Coletti question. See what he has to say.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of the times. I don't really recall. I know I did, but there wasn't a ton of lefties you faced growing up.
What did you hit, lefty or righty?
Right, I was a right-handed hitter.
So, did you ever see a changeup from a right-hander?
No, not really a changeup, but I saw guys.
I'll give you an example.
They had two pitches. They had a curveball or a fastball.
I'll give you an example an example, Dan, of an old school pitcher that threw a changeup. Didn't matter if it was righty or lefty. Mario Soto, Reds,
oh, yeah.
Nasty changeup. He threw it to righties and lefties. So I don't know. It's just it's interesting to me that lefties cannot throw changeups to lefties.
I don't know why, but I would think facing a right-hander throwing a changeup to a right-hander would be really hard to hit because that shoulder is, that left shoulder, and he's throwing that side. As you start to open up, ready to swing, and all of a sudden it looks like a fastball and it's coming in slow. I'm off. I mean, probably more than a lefty. A lefty, I think I have more time to see it.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's why I don't understand how lefties changeup messes with right-handed hitters.
Yeah, it's a good point.
I don't know.
Yeah, Wisenhut there's a lot of young guys that could be wild cards into helping put this team, over as it kind of goes along, because they're hot now. They're going to hit a cold streak. Listen, they're going to win 60 games. They're going to lose 60 games. What are they going to do in the other 42 games? Is the key. And
look at this. I wish Fitz would give you a plug, Dan. Your biased opinions are based on who plugs your show. Hey, I said I love Lamont Wade as a guy, but the Giants could do better at first base than Lamont Wade, okay? Yep. As much as I love Casey Schmidt, if the Giants had a chance to get Bregman, I said they should have got Bregman to play second base. Is that bias, or is that just – come on. I think I'm being reasonable, but based on what the Giants have today, not what they could have or should have, but what they do have, I think Casey Schmidt's a better ball player than Tyler Fitzgerald. I do think Fitzgerald can be a good ball player. I would like to see Fitz play 3 to 4 days a week, move him around. He's showing right now that he may not be an everyday player. But Fitz also could get hot. Yes. I just want to see Fitz run. Yes. I want to see him use his speed. His greatest asset. I mean, he helped them win opening day. Do you know he went through Matt Williams' stop sign, scoring that on that play on opening day at home, the home game where they beat Seattle 10-9?
Yeah.
I mean, that was
That's ballsy. That's ballsy to go against Matt Williams, man. Don't
it is.
The Marine.
He's out at the plate if Robles gets the ball out of his glove. He couldn't get it out of his glove cleanly the first time, had to go back in, get it, and then throw. And it was still kind of a bang play.
But I like that. Make them make a play to beat you.
Absolutely. If I was Matt Williams, I would have been sending him. So
I like to see Fitzgerald bunt a little bit more.
He did try that bunt today. He hit it. He didn't get it in fair territory, but I liked it. It was 2 outs. He would beat it out. Look, Fitzgerald just has to use his speed as much as he can to make himself, more effective.
Yeah. Do what you can to get on base and utilize your speed, because he's one of the few
Mitchell
guys
Ness.
on the roster.
Hey, it's funny you say that because I've resigned myself to Fitz playing second base right now. I'm fine with him playing second base. Fitzgerald. I actually like Casey playing first base. I would actually like to see Casey, if Wade doesn't pick it up with the offense, give Casey a few more at bats to let him face some right-handed pitchers, because Casey's got that play he made the other day where he charged the ball and threw him out at the plate on an infield grounder. That was a third baseman making that play. I don't think Wade makes that play. So I am fine with look, they're 10-4. There's right now, I don't think they have to do anything drastic.
No.
But they just need to be prepared that there's going to be some areas that are going to rise up. And I think the area that we're seeing that's rising up is the consistency in the starting pitching. You've got Hicks had the great outing in Houston. That was his first start of the season. His next start was it was his home start, right, against Cincinnati,
Mm-hmm.
and he did okay, right?
All right.
He did have a. I'm trying to remember. Is that the game they lost 2-0? I can't remember.
I believe so. Yeah.
But he did okay. But I'm just saying that there's consistency issues that could rise up with Hicks and Verlander. They're going to have some really good games, and they're going to have some games that don't go so well, as any pitcher is going to happen. But I think it's more prone to happen at a higher clip with those two guys.
Right now, Webb is the only pitcher I feel very confident about that's going to go out there and pitch well. I mean, even Robbie Ray, he'll look good for 4 innings, and then he'll just kind of all of a sudden lose it. That 5 or 6 inning mark is just something that the rotation is going to have to get better at. So
Yeah.
Webb's going tomorrow. Rodon is going tomorrow. Rodon's going to want to try to do something against the Giants for sure. So
yeah, fun doubleheader tomorrow, guys. We will have a short. I'm not even sure if we'll do a post game tomorrow. We probably will do it in the evening with the Hot Corner show at 8:00. We'll cover the final game there. We might do a Giants one. You know what? I think we'll do a short Giants tomorrow, probably be about 20 minutes long, right after the ball game, because the Warriors are going to be playing a very, very important game that they got to win with the Clippers. And the Giants game will end about 1:00, and the Warriors game will have just started. So hopefully it times up where halftime of the Warriors game is happening, and the Giants Yankees game ends, and we'll do a short Giants post game, and then we'll do a Warriors wrap up tomorrow. Wait a minute, Fosse says I got to go to my Filipino food. Calling my name. Ooh. Hey, love.
I'm jealous.
Fosse,
don't tease me with that Filipino food, man. It's one of my favorites.
I get Filipino food all the time, man. Hey, the best bread to ever have in the world is pandesal. Mm-hmm. Pandesal. It is so good. Give me some pandesal. Give me some lumpia. Give me some pancit.
Ask her to make you kari kari. She'll laugh when you say that. Kari,
what is
kari.
that? What is it?
Oxtails.
Babe.
Kari kari.
Kari kari.
She's gonna laugh. She's like, "How do you know about kari kari?"
Love. Can't hear me.
Tell her that.
Love, you got to make some kari kari.
Oh, you must be talking to Carlos. Good stuff, Fosse. Good stuff, Dan.
All right, man. Hey, have a great one. There's nothing like a Filipino family party, man. Oh. They put on the best parties, I'm telling you. And then you probably got the karaoke afterwards.
That's good stuff.
All right, let's get out of here, Los. You got any final words for today?
No, just it appears that we're talking negatively about the Giants. We're just talking, just keep your expectations. The team is playing well. They're fun to watch. I enjoy
Yeah,
watching them.
I'm enjoying every game.
I was out last night. I did not even watch any of the game, and I looked at my phone and I saw 9-1. I said, "Oh my God!" I said, "Wow, that's impressive to go into Yankee Stadium and win a 9-1." So this is a better Giants team. If you just want better, that's okay. If you want more, then me and Dan are just trying to explain this is what they need to do to get to that more that I think we all want. But if that doesn't happen, that's okay. Build and be even better next year and the year after that. That's okay. But yeah, I'm excited for Giants baseball, man.
Awesome.
They're actually decent to watch right now.
Yeah, I'm enjoying it. I'm enjoying every game. Right now we're in the midst of 17 games in 17 days. They've had 2. So we got 15 more straight ball games before they get a day off. I love it. It's baseball, and man, I'm enjoying watching the Giants again.
Yep.
It's Buster, even though they do still some of the frustrating things of not scoring with runners in scoring position today, like second and third, nobody out, didn't get anybody across. I still think this team is, Adames is going to get a little bit better as the weather warms up. Right now, hey, Los, you've played in some bad weather games,
Yes.
and nothing like playing on the East Coast cold, though. Okay,
Oh.
but playing in the city when it's damp and foggy and it's not fun.
And as a hitter, you get jammed.
Oh gosh, you're stinging your hands.
Your hands are stinging. You go out in the field. Yeah, you know that feeling. Ugh.
Yes, all too well. All right, guys, take care, everybody. We'll see you tomorrow. Go Giants. Like and subscribe, everybody. If you would do that favor for us, it would greatly help the show out. Everybody on your way out, hit the like button, and it will get pushed out to more and more people. We greatly appreciate that. All right. And don't forget to call Chapman Law Group. If you have any legal needs, Chapman Law Group, 415-613-9483. Chapman Law Group for all your legal needs, especially if you've got a personal injury situation. Chapman Law Group, let them know NorCal Sports Network sent you. All right, everybody. We will see you again tomorrow. Take care and go Giants.